Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. Boy, do we have a show for you today, because today we're going to, the initial conversation is about how to get your 15 minutes, because obviously to be successful in this world, you got to get in front of people. But how do you do that? Well, we have two greats, two institutions almost in our community. And I'm going to introduce them shortly. But first, I'm going to introduce Marcy Gutenberg with An Affair to Remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy.
Hello, Keith. How are you?
I'm super excited about our guest today, because I thought we just had one, but we have two. And I couldn't have asked for better, right?
Very excited.
So let me introduce first Shari Lynn. Hello, Shari Lynn. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm great. How are you doing?
It's excellent to have you on the show. And then we've also got Victoria Da Silvio, who is coming in from Vegas. What?
Hello, Victoria.
Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Now, remember, there's going to be a little bit of a gap for Victoria because she is coming to us from Vegas. So there is a little bit of a delay that is happening, but no worries. So, ladies, I'm super glad to have you both on the show, because today the initial conversation was getting your 15 minutes. And to me, when I hear getting your 15 minutes, obviously I think about fame and I think about those flash in the pans and what have you, but we don't want to be flash in pans. We need to be able to get in front of people. And Shari Lynn, you were the editor of Biz Bash Florida. For 4 years, I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
And that was a startup. So you came into South Florida going, okay, I want to do an events magazine, or the group wanted to do an events magazine. And what was the reaction to people? Did people go, oh yeah, we need a magazine? Or were they thinking, oh my God, what are you talking about? Why do we need an event magazine?
They were pretty much like, yeah, we'll see you packing. I've been a writer and an editor my whole career, and this was the most serious startup that I've ever entertained. And basically the problem was nobody actually understood what Biz Bash was.
Right.
I feel like we're going back to 2003, right? Should I give that away? But it was so long ago that really the events industry was just coming into its own and getting out there. And it's a $1 billion industry basically.
Right.
Nobody really knew. Oh my God. So we came in and they said, this is what the model is, go. Yeah. And there was one sales guy who had no idea about anything. We'd go out, and I can remember the first sales call. It was to one of the biggies. I don't know if I should say it. Am I allowed to say it?
Yeah, of course you can.
It was ME Productions.
Oh, I love ME Productions. What are you talking about? They're awesome.
Well, they were I sat down with Hal and Jim, and between the two of them, they were like, yeah, we're New Yorkers. I'm like, but I'm a New Yorker. Like, yeah, this isn't going to last. You'll see. You'll be toddling home and we'll. Anyway, it didn't happen like that. It took me 2 years to get anyone to really, really start coming aboard. But they were, coming aboard slowly. Oh, I get it.
Right.
Then when one person sees it, they're like, oh my God, if they're doing it, then I'm going to do it. And just like everybody else, all of the companies are small and they have budgets. So what's the advertising going to do for me? Oh, you do free stuff. Oh, write about me. And it just started growing and growing. And 2 years later, I saw Hal and Jim at one of our shows. And Hal walked up to me and he was like, I owe you an apology. What do you mean you owe me an apology?
Yes.
You remember our meeting? And I'm like, how can I ever forget? He was like, you made it work, and I'm proud. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So anyway.
But that's the thing is that, before Biz Bash, let's say before 2007, 2003, let's say 2003, I don't know if the event industry really had the ability to say, look, we're important. We're an important part of the economics that are here in South Florida. And I feel like COVID proved that even more so, that they, that all of a sudden when the event industry came to a sudden halt, all of a sudden people realize how much money is actually coming through the event industry and how badly it is needed to keep our economy going. I mean,
100%.
Victoria is in Vegas, and Victoria, you were just saying before we went on the air about what's going on in Vegas. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing there.
Well, are extremely busy with people. That's for sure. I went down to the front desk the other day on Friday night. There was probably 200 people in line checking in. The problem is that obviously everywhere they cannot find the staff to help to facilitate, what's going on, with the front desk, to banquets, to housekeeping is truly a big issue too. Even today, I was talking to my director of catering. They can't even from the outside company because the linen company can't get the workers to turn the linens over. It is really a crisis everywhere. Obviously, there are thousands of hotels that are shutting down because they can't find the workers because they've been hit with this COVID, and now they're going to probably do the mask mandates out here again. But there's a conference here for 3,000 people right now that's going off down on another level. They're international. They're busy. They are busy, but they do not have the staff to take care of what needs to be done for the guests, which is a sad thing. And then the guests are very impatient. They don't understand, and that's the bad thing too. And then you have people that they're hiring that are really, they're just hired and they don't know how to make a decision if something does happen. And I did have an issue here. I had an issue. I was very specific. I met with the rooms division with my director of catering. I went through how the amenities were to be delivered and how the bags were to be delivered, and it didn't happen, even though that I had the phone calls and they assured me. But again, someone gets that and they have no knowledge to take that next step to say, God, what do I need to do? They're just there doing their job and just surviving and not taking the initiative to try to figure out to do the right thing. It's not going to, we're not going to be bouncing back, I feel, staff-wise for a very long time.
Well,
and even at one, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, just very quickly, one of the very, very large properties here, an amazing dinner there last night. And what they did, obviously, Keith, being in the hotel business for a long time, that your bank staff, their family, they've been for 25, 30 years, and they decided, what? They're going to make everybody to reapply so that they weed out, the seniors, I guess. I don't know how to be, say it to be delicate, but
no,
because
that's all right. I get it. Yeah.
So
what a bad time to do that. I mean, we don't have enough qualified people. If they're qualified, okay, keep them. I mean, that's so important. Then they teach the younger people and maybe they'll want to know and want to be there.
Well, one of the things that we were going to talk about, and we were going to talk about later in the show, but it feels like a perfect opportunity to talk about it right now, is something that has kind of infected, I've seen it on my end as a planner, is this post-pandemic energy, or PPE as it's being called, PPE, post-pandemic energy. And it's all of these brides, all of these clients that are just have been like waiting. And so they've got all this energy built up and they're like, okay, we want to do it, and we want to do it now, and we want to do it exactly like this, and we want to do it based on what we remember the community being like before COVID. And it's not like that right now. It is. We are in the wild, wild west when it comes to putting on events. I mean, we did a wedding on Saturday, and I had half the staff that I would normally have, like wait staff, and I mean, me and my assistants were picking up plates, serving drinks, running into the kitchen, doing what we had to do in order to make sure that the service level stayed up where it needed to be. And even today, I was at a Wendy's, and there was a sign that says, "Work today, get paid tomorrow." I was like,
wow.
What?
Wow.
Work today, get paid tomorrow at a Wendy's.
Right. Please, somebody come. Please staff our store, please.
Yes.
It's almost like taking
aggressive. Sorry.
Marcy, go ahead.
It's so Yeah, it's so true because I was down in Myrtle Beach for our site inspection for an event that we're doing in the fall. And one of the properties, the director of sales, he said, I was the wedding director this weekend. I walked the bride down the aisle. I did BEOs. I mean, they're multitasking because the thing is they're getting so inundated with phone calls because, with the brides, more social events, and they can't turn it around fast enough or respond fast enough. And also too, we're going over tonight to Allegiant Stadium, and they just can't get back to the people that are calling in to do events. It's taking 3-4 days for the turnaround time because they just don't have the bodies.
Yeah, and it makes it harder as us as wedding planners and event professionals because our clients are saying, "Well, why aren't you getting an answer?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm making the phone calls. I'll give you an example, and I don't mean to call out the Landon, but I'm gonna call out the Landon. I've been on the phone with them for 3 months. 3 months trying to get a reservation code, and that is all. All I need is a reservation code, and they only have one person left in their entire staff that knows how to even do it. Holy moly, one person.
It is so frightening.
And I love this hotel.
You can't even get angry because we as professionals, we get it because it's happening to us. So the lay people, and we're the professionals, we're the ones who are here. We're here and we're trying. And the brides and the grooms that are coming in, and what happens? The bride gets crazy, so the groom gets angry. So we have to take the brunt of it, and we're trying. Well, try harder. I can do it myself. Go for it.
So
Go
true.
for it. If you want to do it yourself, have at it, and then come back and call me so we can do this together the way it should be done.
But I have to tell you, it tells us, for me, what it's going to do is just like Victoria was saying that they were putting people back through the interview process. I think the same thing is going to be happening with the event professionals on this side as well. Those flash in the pan wedding planners that did it because they did their sister's wedding are not going to be able to survive this. There is no way that they're going to survive this. What do you think, Victoria?
Well, no, I agree 100% with you. And even in the meeting planning industry, what I'm hearing too this week is that a lot of the people that have been in the industry such a long time, like a lot of the third party players, like you took Direct or Helms Briscoe, they're getting out of the industry. I think what had happened with COVID, Keith, this industry as a hotelier, you're grinding and you're going and going and going and going every day. And all of a sudden we hit that wall and we stopped and we were breathing for a moment. It was the first time because we have been in the grinds for so many years. And so what happens, a lot of the senior planners or wedding planners, they just said, you know what, I'm done here. So what's happening now, these younger planners are coming in, and not to be disrespectful, but they're totally clueless. And for me, any kind of a planner, if you're a meeting planner or wedding planner, again, when I spoke at Johnson & Wales and everybody's like, I want to be a wedding planner, go to a hotel and learn your foundation. That is the foundation to build you so that you can have those good, strong. You can walk in and feel strong when you walk into a home and know exactly what needs to be set and how to negotiate with food and beverage and everything else. And I think what's happening is, again, there's the newbies coming in and they're totally clueless. And the people at the hotel just don't have the time for hand-holding.
Well, and it's just a lot of work. I mean, and I agree. When we talk about, the theme of this particular show is, how do you get your 15 minutes? Well, how do you get your 15 minutes is by putting in the work. You got to put in the work ahead of time. The fact that, myself, Shari, Victoria, Marcy, we're fairly well known in our community down here, but that wasn't because we instantly came to the forefront, like all of a sudden, we did something really spectacular. We did the work. We did the work behind it. We took our time. We worked our way up through our different industries, me through hotels, Marcy as well through hotels, Victoria through hotels, Shari Land through editing processes all over the place. but you got to do the work before you can get to this point. Yes, it's we all want to be Jennifer Lopez with our headpiece and our high heels, but that's not
right,
the reality of the
Jenny
world.
from the block first.
You got to be Jenny from the block first.
And I get it. Like, it's cool
Hold on
to come on and get experience. Oh, don't make me show you bare feet.
That's funny.
And there's something to be said for on the job experience. Like,
yes,
we've all done that too, but there's got to be some balance where you say to the more experienced planners out there, hey, I am new and I do want to learn, so please bear with me. How many feet apart does a table have to be in a banquet, when you're seating for 150 people?
Right.
If you can't, if XYZ planner can't give you that answer, there's got to be some kind of, there's got to be something done, because then it becomes dangerous on top of everything. Frustrating. People need to learn their crafts.
So I'm going to do a little shout out to Anna Hass, who's a local event planner who's fairly new to the event planning world. And what I love about Anna is that she is full of questions. She doesn't put on airs at all about what she knows or what she doesn't know. She's like, I will get back to you. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to find out for you. But right now, what is she doing? She's cutting flowers. She's making bouquets. She's doing the grunt work, while also doing the other side of it, the production of the side of it, the publication side of it. I feel like she's doing it exactly right. And that's why anytime somebody says, oh, if you're not available, I immediately go, okay, you need to talk to Anna Hass. Because I feel like
going to the conferences to get educated.
And she's going to the conferences to get educated. I feel like she's putting the education first and doing the work now, so that way later she can have her 15 minutes. Now, let's just say she's already had a full page spread in Modern Luxury Magazine. God bless her, because it was amazing. It looked amazing. And she's had all sorts of great publicity. But again, it's because she is earnest in what she is trying to do. She doesn't put on airs. She does the grunt work. I mean, it's not all pretty, is it, Victoria?
No. No, not at all. I mean, I've played it up 1,000 times in Operaland. I was in Nashville. I created a DMC company for Operaland. And so when we went off site, there was 90 people between our servers and, the whole catering staff and the trucks and, and I would be there helping load. In Atlantic City, I had a small ballroom. We turned it over all the time. And, I walked in and I had my sneakers on and stacked chairs and rolled the tables. And, that's what you have to do. You have to make everybody part of the team. It's a team effort. We're all here on this earth to serve. And we're all here as one. And it has to be a team effort when we're working together. And you make that staff special.
Yes. And I think that's a really important thing to say, is that, nobody does it on their own. Nobody gets to a point of success on their own. Nobody does that, right? I mean, Marcy, you've been the president of NACE. You've been part of Ladies in the Biz. You've been a part of all of these organizations. What would you say is important for success for people long term?
I think for the long term, I think you really need to step in the role and really immerse it. And when you are asked to do something, if you don't know how to do it, just ask somebody. I think a lot of times what I'm seeing a lot of is people in their roles, but they're not really exerting the effort. For example, if I'm sending an email to somebody and I spell out very succinctly, short to the point, my questions, I'm expecting an answer back. I'm not expecting additional questions which were answered in the email. I don't think people are reading. And I think that they need to kind of get on the ball. If somebody wants something, go and find somebody to do it, or do it yourself, because that's the only way things are going to excel and you're going to advance yourself down the road. But I think that people are forgetting that those, steps are important in the whole picture. Don't just sit back and let it be, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get the company anywhere, and it's only going to make the client or the guest unhappy.
Well, right. Can I make a comment on that? Because you hit it right on the head. Like, everyone has to do everything. And I feel like a lot of the newbies, to use Vic's expression, like, they don't want to do dirty work. Well,
right.
We've been doing this for 30 years, 20 years, whatever it is. We're doing the dirty work. You have to do the dirty work.
We're all in the pool, treading that water.
That's
and we
right.
have to sometimes do things we don't necessarily like to do to get the job done.
Oh, I empty the garbage. There's an event. No one's emptying that garbage. I'm slinging it over my shoulder.
Yep.
And I wouldn't ask anyone ever to do anything that I wouldn't do myself.
Well, like this wedding that we had on Saturday, part of the ceremony was outside. I brought 3 changes of clothes. I sweated through all of them. It was disgusting, you know. But that's what you do. You sweat through the clothes, but always look professional. Put on the jacket. Put on that dress. Put on, if you're, that you have to also keep the appearance while knowing how to grunt it. You know.
Absolutely.
I mean, I love the fact that Victoria was just showing us her fabulous, sandals that are all blinged out.
Yeah, right. She's so funny. As she sits in the empty ballroom away from everyone for 1 minute.
Yeah, I do. I love the fact that you got nobody behind you, Victoria,
right?
For just that 1 second, because I know you've got a short period of time.
She's like, namaste.
Yeah, it's chaotic around the corner.
Isn't that how it always is? Well, as people that are behind the scenes, so, here we are, all of us are behind the scenes people, because that's what we do. How do you then get in front of people in order to get new clients, in order to get in front of people? What are some tips that you would give somebody that's in the business that is starting their own company and needs a way of getting in front of people?
I'll take it. If
Shari, go ahead. Yes, please.
Apparently I can't stop talking. I do. I get so happy. I love sharing information because I always feel like people listen, but they don't really hear. And like, let's say I work with you. You could tell me all day long and I may not listen because I know everything, especially coming into the biz. But when they hear it from somebody else that like has nothing to do with their day to day, maybe they'll stop and take a listen and say, oh, okay.
Right.
But there are so many things. I think that our industry, as much as we've grown and as sophisticated as we've all become, the companies are still very small and they don't really know that it's twofold. Sales are one thing. You've got to make calls. You've got to network and very basic things. You've got to ask for meetings and ask for business. There are so many planners. Why you? Like, what's special about you? Mm-hmm. I come from being the first editor of Biz Bash down here. And then after a bunch of years, the reason I went into PR and marketing and branding and all that stuff, because everybody in the business was like, everybody, and you can get it, you can write and help us. How do we do this? So I went and I left and I started a PR company and I took all those little companies, and basically what you do is you either get yourself a PR person or you go direct to magazines. You've got to get your work out there. Victoria is putting her blood, sweat, and tears into this event, and it's going to be over in 3 days. Yep. Most events aren't even that long. They're like 4 hours. So you sit there and you are working your tail off. And you know that this is spectacular. Well, submit for awards. Enter it into local magazines, online, whatever it is to get you out there so other brides can see your stuff. That's how you grow. That's how you become famous.
100%.
You don't have to spend tons of money to do it.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you have to have good relationships with your photographers. You gotta have good relationships with your videographers. You gotta make sure that you protect. You protect those relationships, because guarantee you, guess who's going to get you that perfect photo that goes into that perfect magazine that gets you that perfect award? It's going to be that photographer. So
absolutely,
treat your photographer well, guys. Treat your photographer well. You want to make sure. Yeah, go ahead, Shari.
You need to learn. You need to learn to ask the questions. like you and I had another conversation about this, Keith. And, you know, I was saying if the bride has the photographer, you need to say to him, hey, listen, I want, you know, decor before and the tables up close and from far away. And then you did one better, which I was like, yeah, you get your own photographer.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, that's the answer. And he comes in or she comes in and they shoot everything. Write a list. I mean, that's how they know. They're not mind readers and they don't think the way you think.
Right.
If this is your event, make it happen. You are in control of your stuff, your company.
I believe that in a big way. I mean, I love having my own photographer that comes in and does the setups stuff for us. Like Susan Delaware is my photographer that I use specifically for those kind of setup shots, and she's brilliant at it and does amazing stuff for me. And then many times she does it, you know, as just per, you know, without exchanging of funds. I don't know where my brain just went, but just because we have a long lasting working relationship, she will do it for me for free. But that's because we've had years and years and years of events together, and at some point she knows that her work that I get published is going to get her hired by not just by me, but by other people, because they're going to see it. They're going to see it in Modern Luxury and go, oh my God, who did that shot? Oh, right. Susan Delaware. Oh, okay. We gotta hire her. And that photo credit's right there for all to see. So it really behooves everybody to play nicely in the sandbox together. Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, Victoria.
What do you
go ahead,
think
Marcy.
about, like, sorry, what do you think, like,
Victoria!
We're gonna see you next week, right?
No worries. We're going to see Victoria next week. So tune in next Tuesday at 2. She'll be with us next week. So enjoy Vegas.
The time there.
Have fun. She's got her hands full.
Wow.
Oh, she really does.
I didn't go, just saying.
I was going to ask,
but Marcy, go ahead.
Ask about like networking. In addition to getting out in the publicity world, how important would you tell somebody who's new in the industry how important it is to be involved with associations and organizations?
Yes. It's everything. It is everything. And everybody says this about their own industries, but the events industry, it's all about events. It's a social industry, more so than lawyers and doctors, whatever. Our industry, it is the most important thing. People buy people. Yeah. You know, you may have nice linens and you may have the second nicest linens. But if I love, you know, the owner of whoever, I'm working with that person. I can always overcome the technicalities. Like, can you get me this? So I buy people. People buy people. We love playing, and I think they really go hand in hand.
Well, I think one of the biggest issues that we're having right now is that the associations that have been around in South Florida, NACE, MPI, ILEA, I know I'm missing a whole bunch of them, NAWP, right? The problem is that, you know, we went through a pandemic and people got used to not paying their membership. They got out of that membership. And my big thing is, look, why do you think you're busy right now? It's not because... Marcy's going to agree with me 100%.
I know it.
Right? You had to build those relationships somewhere. You had to get started somewhere. So that was probably through a networking group, an association. And the reason that you're busy now is because you built all those amazing connections because of an association.
100%.
Well, now that you're past the pandemic, you need to get back into those associations. Yeah. You need to get back into that networking, because this boom that's happening now, and as much as we all love it, because it is crazy right now, it's not going to last forever.
No, it is not.
No, it isn't.
And guess what's going to happen? Yeah, you got to
go back.
Yeah.
And you're going to want NACE to be around. And you're going to want ILEA to be around. And you're going to want all of these places to give you what they initially gave to you.
Right.
But you weren't above paying for it then.
Right. And
So,
and look at
hello.
Aaliyah. Aaliyah closed. I think it's reopened just recently in South Florida.
Yep.
But it closed its doors for 6 months, which was really sad because it was what I consider one of the big three.
Yes.
And and the same thing happened with like NAWP and even NACE South Florida. I mean, look at NACE Miami. NACE Miami is having a really hard time right now, and we're going to absorb them back into the Greater Broward chapter. But
Gonna have to, right?
But we're going to have to. But, that's what I'm saying. It is time to get back to supporting those organizations that supported you when you first started.
Yep.
I mean, now that the money's back in, because I guarantee you, and this is coming from me personally, I'm going to look to my NACE people first.
Absolutely.
When I look for a DJ, a photographer, anybody that is a vendor, I'm definitely going to be looking for my NACE people first, because those were the people that supported me when I first started, and I'm going to make sure I return the favor and support them.
Absolutely.
And so, I'll get off my soapbox about that. But,
it's really true. So I've been in the industry since 2003.
Right.
Before I started Biz Bash down here, before I was hired, I didn't start it. I was the first employee. So I was the first clueless person wandering around. I was like, okay, so I'd written about travel and food and decor and fashion and florals and jewelry, you name it, and I'd written about it.
Right.
And when the person that hired me said, well, do you like parties? And I'm like, sure. Do you like to go out? Sure. Can you write? Sure. He goes,
I can't write.
That's what you're going to be doing. So I'm thinking, whoa, I took all of those different industries. That's the event industry. We are everything. And long-winded story because I talk way too much. But the point of it is, there's a point that my first coming out, if you will, was an ILEA meeting before it was even ILEA, like way long ago. And I'm going to give a shout out to Jamie Oristano, who is everywhere.
Yes, hello, Jamie.
Find them. The first person I met in the whole industry.
I mean, come on, Jamie would find them on Facebook, and now with his own website. Hello.
Amazing. He is truly one of the pioneers of the South Florida industry and beyond. But he is really what our industry, he embodies our industry. And it's up to people like us, the older people, the people who've been around. And I don't mean older, like, oh my God, just that we've been around. We have to teach the younger newbie people. These are the important things. And even though you think it's this,
right,
it has to go back to like basics.
It really does. I feel like it needs to go back to basics. I mean, Bonnie Femiano was a major reason that I got involved with NACE, right? And if it hadn't been for that conversation with Bonnie, I wouldn't have been able to launch my company. I would not have been able to be involved in NACE. I wouldn't have had the connections that I have. And I will always thank her for that, because it was that one-on-one connection that she says, you need to be a part of this. And what did Bonnie end up doing? Live Events Coalition, right? Live Events Coalition, Marcy? Did I get live?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to make sure I had that.
Coalition.
Yeah, right. Which was badly needed when the whole industry came apart. So, when we talk about this 15 minutes of fame, it's not 15 minutes of fame. It's hard work and long-term time served, if that makes sense. Oh, that makes it feel like a prison.
That's so true. People really need to realize it's what are you putting into something, because that's what you're putting into something is what you're going to get back. Right. If you don't put anything in, what are you going to get back? Nothing. Right. If you put something into it, then there's a reward, the reward for involvement.
Well, and the thing is I feel like that, especially, since as we're coming out of COVID, a lot of people got used to social media. They got used to Zoom meetings. They got used to being able to have a platform that was, out there on the web socially, like this show, but there will be nothing ever that replaces that face-to-face networking, that partnership that you have with people. And that takes effort and time and work. And it takes organizations that are dedicated to that world. NACE, ILEA, NAWP. I mean, these are those organizations, MPI. These are going to be those organizations that you're going to want to be a part of. And you may have found short-term success doing your own thing on social media at the moment because of COVID.
The moment.
But it's at the moment. It's at the moment. It won't be forever. And it's important.
Nothing replaces it.
Nothing. Ever.
We need each other. Like humans need each other. And it's just about getting used to something. I mean, once like we always did it face to face, and then COVID comes along, and then we just got used to being online. Like I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I'm like talking to a screen. Thank God there's really someone real on the other end of it. But if you were there and I could actually go, oh my God, Marcy, keep high, and hug you, like that's even better. So it's just a matter of getting these people re-interested in getting in your car and going to a destination.
Well, and these associations are also going to be the ones that have the education that is needed for these different agencies. I mean, NACE is known for the education factor. I mean, there is a whole plethora of libraries set aside on the NACE national website that has nothing but educational tools for anybody that is new to the industry. You could be new to a hotel. You could be a new banquet captain. You could be a new front desk person. You could be a new event planner. You could be a new invitation specialist. And guarantee you there's going to be something out there on the NACE website that gives you some education. You know? And the same thing is going to be with the MBI, and the same thing is with ILEA. I'm trying to be as fair as possible with all the organizations, but you know that those associations,
different, and they all have their purpose.
They all have their purpose, but the associations are there not just for networking, but for education. And you're gonna need the education.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it's a support all around for your, for your career.
It really is. I mean, and more than
aside
ever
from the career, I mean, you do make personal relationships as well. I mean, it's we're in this business 24/7 pretty much.
Right.
And these are the people that you're with a lot. So you want to kind of create those relationships to, have a support around you, have a support system.
For me, it's natural. I mean, it seems as though it should be a natural thing that if you come into any business, not just ours, but especially ours, because it's so social, you want to learn, you want to be the best. I don't want to make stuff up. I don't want to, if you don't know, ask. If you can't get an answer, find the answer. And then, I feel like people who really love events, the business, any part of it, they're the ones that stick around. You can't last here. And when you really love it, you can't get out of it. Something always pulls you back in. So,
it does pull you back in.
Because there's no escaping. We're here for good.
Well, and and if we talk about the industry right now in general here in South Florida, and I've heard that this is, and we just heard from Victoria that this is the same that's happening in Vegas, is that there's about a 30% deficit when it comes to having just labor, and which tells you, to me, it makes me even more focused on the fact that everybody is important, from the bellman to the front desk agent, to the server, to the person that cleans up afterwards. Because if those people are not there, the whole event falls apart.
Yep. If you look at it, it's really the reverse. The planner's the glue, but that little guy picking up the garbage, he's the most important, because you better believe that your client, the first thing they're going to say is, why were the dishes on the table?
100%.
Why the garbage is not taken out? That is key. So he's really one of the most important aspects. Everything is clean and the flow is good.
I'm really hoping that out of all of this, that a new focus is done to our hourlies. Our hourly people are the ones that are kind of the backbone of our events here in South Florida. Yeah. It's good to be the planner and run around and have the design. It's good to be the florist, but at the end of the day, an event won't happen unless there's somebody there to serve a drink or to serve some food. It just won't happen,
So, case in point, I don't know if any of you saw the press conference with Jeff Bezos this morning with regards to.
I saw
No.
I didn't see
Okay,
it till yesterday.
One of the things that he talked about was he thanked every single employee from Amazon, and he thanked every single patron or customer of Amazon. And I thought, how poignant is that to acknowledge the fact that you can't get somewhere without your support system? You know, I mean, he didn't make it rich just by sitting in his chair. He worked his tush off and had that support of his, of his team and people buying products from his website.
I mean, I'm guilty. I buy a ton of stuff. Then you should give them more than 11 seconds. Did you know that they have to be moving a package every 11 seconds?
Yes.
And I think to myself, when did I get to be? Like, oh my God. Like, it's very scary, but I love that he acknowledged it. I think that's amazing and important.
The fact that he couldn't get up into space because he did, if he didn't have his team and if he didn't have the customers, then he didn't, he couldn't make it.
But again, I'm hoping that all of this refocuses our industry on not the attendees, but maybe a little bit more focus on the ones that actually are the ones that build it, produce it, run it. Servers, cleaning staff, bartenders, setup crew, lighting crew. I mean, load in, load out, all of the, all of the hard work that goes into, all the labor that goes into doing an event, that, things don't just magically appear, throw a little sprinkle of glitter dust and
it's so simple. Just make it happen. There's no just.
How many times would you take a piece of linen back to the housekeeping department and have them iron it back out because it wasn't, pressed properly?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and guess what they did? They did it, and they did it with a smile.
And they did it
with a smile.
Yeah. And I feel like that this is maybe almost a little reckoning out there right now, guys. I feel like there's a little bit of a reckoning happening. And I think that hotels that have not done a good job of making sure that their employees feel valued are going to lose out. They're going to really feel it long term when it comes to this, because I just feel like hotels, people that were very specific towards a certain brand, and I won't bring up any particular brands, but were very loyal to a brand because they assumed that the brand would take care of them during all of this. And then when the brand turned its back on them, all of a sudden the employee is like, well, why the hell do I need to be loyal to you if you're not going to be loyal to me?
And there was way too much of that going on, Keith, what you just said. And again, it's so wrong. You can't be who you are. And there is no loyalty to the little guy. It's very uncommon. And I'm with you. I hope that changes. And we can actually start, like, the media is guilty. Yeah. We always glorify the planners and the designers. And what about doing like features on the little guys? What about the people who are like behind the face?
Well, and the thing is that I don't think that they typically want to be in the spotlight on they want to be able to come in, do a good job, make a reasonable wage, be treated with respect, on all levels. And I think that that's really all people are looking for is treat me with respect. Say thank you. I mean, my assistant, Brooke, who is not here today, by the way, because she's doing another event. She is hardcore about at the end of the night, she literally walks through the kitchen all the way through and thanks every single person, the chef, the bar back, the bussers, everybody. Thank you for an incredible night. Thank you for an incredible night. Thank you for an incredible night. It's amazing what a difference it makes in people's attitudes, especially at the end of it when you're
absolutely
butt ass tired. And then, and then somebody actually took the time to come and say thank you. Like,
wow. Yeah. What about knowing their names? Like, what about knowing everyone's name?
Knowing their names.
Huge for me. Even like you go into a restaurant in your neighborhood and you've been there, 50 times and the people behind the counter still look at you with this blank stare. You're like, I know I'm not that forgettable. I eat here every single day. Come on. You know, I have pink hair. You really gonna tell me I walk around with a dog and pink hair and you don't know me? But when somebody goes, oh, you were here the other day. And then I'm like, hi, I'm Shari. Who are you? And then all of a sudden they feel special. So you're like passing that good feeling on. It takes
true.
so little, but it means so much.
It really does. Okay, Shari, you've been a doll. Okay, we're going to hear from our sponsor really quick, but then we're going to be back for Behind the Veil. So 30 seconds and we will be right back.
I, Ava, wonder if our guests would be here on time.
If we had a custom wedding website.
With our ceremony details on it.
And I, Taylor, would pick Zola to have and to host our wedding website.
Ours even matched our Zola invites. The whole thing was so freaking easy.
Do you think Zola could have made planning your perfect wedding easier?
We do. I do.
We've helped 1 million couples plan their weddings with free websites, registry, and invitations. Get started for free at Zola.com.
Okay, welcome back. Oh, I love Zola.com. You know,
I love that ad.
I love that ad.
It's a great ad.
I love that ad. Well, so this is the After the Veil. This is just us talking about whatever the hell we want to talk about. And so I'm excited because I know that Victoria was coming in from Vegas and Marcy and I are going to Vegas on Friday. I know. I'm excited. This coming Friday. Yeah. Oh, wait, next Friday. Next Friday.
No, next Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're staying at the Bellagio.
It's my favorite.
I know, I'm so excited.
It's my favorite. I can't wait to see. You have to tell me what they do in the atrium with all the flowers. So gorgeous.
I love the Bellagio, and I can't wait. And so we're taking Brooke. So Brooke's coming with us, and she's never been to Vegas. I cannot wait to watch a new person experience Vegas for the first time because
that's great.
Well, because she has no idea. You know, she has no idea what an adult playground this is. And when I say to her, no, you have zero idea about what you're about to walk into. She's like, I've seen pictures. I'm like, there's just nothing to like it.
Just you wait.
Being there. Just you wait.
So wait, how long are you going for?
We're going for 5 days. Yeah, we're going Friday through Wednesday, I think. I don't remember. When are we coming back? Oh, you're staying.
I'm going Friday to Thursday. Yes.
Yeah, and so but we're going to be there long enough to experience it, and we're going to go to Mr. Chow's. Right, we're going to dinner at Mr. Chow's. Right, Marcy. And so I'm excited. So Brooke wants to win a jackpot so bad, and I said, "Sweetie," I said, "Join the masses."
Yeah, I never really thought about wanting to do that.
I know, right?
Like to give my money in. You know what? If it were up to me, I would shoot craps. Talk about being hardcore. I don't even like gambling. I'm not a gambler.
Right.
There's something about when you go to Vegas, like I have to play craps once. Yeah. And I'm also, what is it, right brain or left brain when you're creative and you're not a numbers person?
Left. Is it left? Wait. I thought it was. Yeah,
left
true.
Is the creative side?
Left is creative side.
Because
left is
when
creative.
It comes to numbers, so you have to do all that math. I just like rolling the dice and like, going, 7, 8, and then everybody cheers and you're like on this roll and it's going. Everyone's making money, and then all of a sudden you're like 7 out. And then I'm done. That's it. Okay. And then you're done.
Well, I love slot machines. What's so sad is I don't play the slot machines to win. I play the slot machines for the bonus rounds.
That is so funny.
I'm so excited when I get a bonus. I'm like, a bonus! Oh, free spins! Yay! Makes no difference. The bottom number could be $1.20 or $120, and I get free spins, and I'm so excited. That was the best day of my life. I got free spins. Oh my god!
And then they have the entertainment, all the shows and the concerts and so forth, and all of those have been on hiatus because of the pandemic. But now they're all starting to come back on board. So we've been watching to see what's coming back. We've seen quite a few shows already, but we want to see something that we haven't seen before.
Well, we're going to go see O. So Brooke,
great show.
Brooke's other boss, got us tickets to O, and not just tickets, VIP box, honey, right in the middle, VIP box. Oh my God. Like seriously. I am so excited about seeing and oh, by the way, was my first Cirque du Soleil show ever to see, and it blew my mind. Do you guys have a first Cirque du Soleil that you just kind of?
I do, actually. It was down here in South Florida.
Yeah.
And my husband was called up on stage for almost 10 minutes on opening night.
No,
Which
that's
him
cool.
and one other character. There was one character, and he did like a West shootout. And he's a pretty quiet, kind of reserved guy.
Yeah.
But he went with it, and he was great. And then we went to Vegas, and he was called up on a different show, not for Cirque du Soleil, but another show.
Yeah.
And
What's
it
up
was
with
funny.
that?
It was very funny. I don't know. He just has that thing that people kind of like, oh, we want him up here.
That's funny. How about you, Shari?
So I'm trying to think back to which one it was. And I mean, it was like a long, long time ago. It might have been La Rev, but or maybe the Beatles. No, that wasn't the first one.
I
It
love
might
the
have been
Beatles.
La Rev.
Yeah.
And or there might have been one before. I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like I've seen them in Vegas. I've seen them in New York because that's where I'm from.
Right.
And in case the accent didn't give it away, which I worked very hard to try to get rid of. But
well, let's see. I've seen the Beatles. I've seen Michael Jackson. I've seen a lot of them. You know, the Michael Jackson one was just phenomenal. By the way, if you haven't seen the Cirque du Soleil Michael Jackson one, but that's what Vegas is about. Are these shows like
life.
I mean, it used to be you went for gambling, and now you go because you want to go see these like incredible shows. And gambling is kind of like, oh yeah, it's there.
Right.
I'm gonna gamble, but it's like I want to go see these shows. And so, and like Madame Tussauds, oh my God, that Madame Tussauds there is ridiculous,
amazing. Wait, what was I going to just ask you? It doesn't matter. I totally lost my thing. Just keep talking. It'll come back to me.
Well, you know what my favorite thing about my favorite thing about Vegas is all the free stuff. There's so much free things to go look at. Like, the fact that the hotel that we're staying at has that big water show every 30 minutes out front. And it's spectacular. It is just spectacular. And then
it's old.
Right. And the Treasure Island has the whole sea captain thing. Like, do they still do that? I don't even know if Treasure Island.
I don't know.
You remember they used to do that?
Mm.
Yeah, but they used to do that, Iron Maiden kind of show on the front.
I think they do.
Yeah. I think,
and then there's the Venetian.
Yes.
With the gondola rides.
Yes.
Amazing.
I mean, I just think, if the industry is coming back, just like Victoria was saying, she's like, it's busy in Vegas.
Yeah.
And that just lets you know that if it's busy in Vegas, it's gonna be busy here. And it is busy. Well, and we're gonna have to get back to basics. Shari Lynn, you talked about that. Back to basics. We got to go back to our basics.
It's so important because you can't be awesome without being good. You got to be good before you're great.
Look at you! I'm gonna I need to write that down.
Oh, that sounded so great.
I like that.
Right?
That really sounded great.
Think about it.
Right.
We've been doing this for so long that everybody strives so much. You just back to basics, really.
And I think we forget, because the three of us have been in the event industry for a really long time. Sometimes it's hard to remember what it was like when we were first starting out and just kind of how overwhelmed we were. And sometimes I just thought,
yes.
I used to stop and think though. You do.
Wow. Or once in a while, I'd be like, well, why isn't this event planner listening to me? Like, I have a suggestion. And now I look back at myself. And I'm like, I was such a dick.
Right? You can't really help it because you got to get to that point where you build up. First you're scared and you're timid.
Yeah.
And you make high. And then you make it. And then you just me, and you start believing your own hype.
Yeah.
And then it's that one integral thing where you're like, ew, I hate me.
I know. I know. You gotta have that. You gotta have that one event that bitch slaps you back into reality. There's always
kind of
one.
When you're growing up and you're in your teens and you're getting into your 20s and you think you know everything.
Yep.
And you really it's not that you don't know anything, but you think you know everything and you're invincible.
And you don't really know anything. That's true.
You really need, if you sit
And-
back and listen, and I
Yeah.
think that's the problem, is that there's no listening factor,
Right.
that
Absolutely.
you can take in that much more and ask more
Well, but then something happens.
questions that are helpful.
Right.
Yeah, and then something happens, and you get completely blindsided
Lost.
and bitch slapped, and
Oh.
you get all sweaty, and you get all embarrassed, and
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
and I go,
Oh, yeah.
you know what? That's just part of it. It's all right,
Yep.
Nobody
It's all a
became
learning process.
right.
is.
Nobody became successful without failing. You gotta
No.
fail.
You have to fail. I love that you said that because I say that all the time. The
Yeah.
only time you fail is if you don't try.
Right.
Yep,
Then like
exactly.
you're a loser. Sorry.
Right.
You can't. It's like someone going, oh, I don't pick a food, right?
Right.
I don't like anchovies. Well, have you ever eaten one? No.
Well,
you don't like it.
well, no, I actually say, well, have you ever had a Caesar salad? And they're like, yes. And I said, well, then you ate anchovies.
Right, exactly.
And they're like, oh, wait, Caesar salad has
that's so
anchovies? It's like,
bad.
okay, learn, honey, learn. I'm just saying, oh my goodness.
When people hear somebody say something like, oh, the anchovies, they're hairy and they're prickly. And so, but you've never eaten one. So you know this how?
Right.
Joe told me.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think to wrap up today, it's there's no such thing as 15 minutes. It's there's just really no such thing as 15 minutes. You got to put in the work to get the work. You got to be able to fail in order to learn, and you got to ask questions. And I think that to me kind of sums up the day. So Shari Lynn, I want to say thank you for being a part of Behind the Veil. I'm looking forward to having you back on next week. Marcy Gutenberg with an Affair to Remember by Marcy. Thank you guys so much. That is our hour, and we will be back next Tuesday with Victoria DeSilvio. So she'll be back from Vegas. So I'm sure that it'll be a really interesting conversation because God, we have a lot more to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.